Welcome, beautiful souls. I'm grateful and ecstatic to share with you another episode of Boss Talks, where powerful creators come together to uplift the universal consciousness. My name is Jadeverett Mayhorn, aka the Smoothie God, and today I have a very special and uplifting and divine guest with me, man. The creator of Pyramid Realms. Appreciate you for coming on, Braden. Welcome to the show,
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Jade.
man. Life is crazy, man. Like, this whole matrix in life and, trying to, be kind to people while living out our dreams, and, trying to encourage people along the way, to live their dreams and to be the best them they can be. And it's like, I know that you give off this love and this positive energy, man. What really got you started with, on this spiritual path or awakening, ascension, whatever we like to call it? What got you started?
Yeah, so to jump to the start of my awakening, I think it was junior year of college for me. And I was never really into any of this. And I wasn't super into spirituality, didn't think too much about my consciousness or uh, none of that too much. And then my junior year of college, I just had a lot of downloads kind of hit me all at once. I had some profound psychedelic experiences that definitely shifted my understanding of reality. And I just got really real with myself about the life I wanted to live. And at that time I was studying mechanical engineering in college, and I just recently got my degree, so I'm graduated, but I'm not going down that route. But yeah, my junior year I kind of realized like I'm in charge of my life. Like it's a very empowering thing to realize, but also it's like kind of scary, like the decisions that I make and where I put my intention, my energy into, like that's going to manifest into my reality. And so that's when I decided to start Pyramid Realm. I knew I wanted to be an activist of some type. I knew I wanted to stand for something. I wanted to work for myself. I was always drawn into entrepreneurship. I like that lifestyle. I know you understand. And so I started my business, and from there I just jumped deeper and deeper into my own kind of process of awakening and my journey of understanding my inner world and learning how to integrate that with like dealing with the outer world. And so at first I went like, I kind of isolated myself. I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to that go through the awakening, is I kind of pushed everyone out of my life. I was like, I just need some space to figure my shit out. And I started researching. I've always been super curious. So once I kind of realized the universe is way cooler than I had previously thought, I just
Yeah.
kind of let myself run with that. And so I built out a website to map out my own brain almost for myself, of like the research that was interesting and excited me. And then I just kept following that, of like what excites me, and then just chasing that and following my heart. And that got me here. And now we sell shirts, canvases, and it's been a really fun couple years.
Yeah. No, that's dope, man. And it's crazy. It's like we live this life up to a certain point, and then you come into this knowledge or an experience or many experiences, especially with psychedelics. Like I definitely understand. It's like it like changes the whole way you perceive the whole world. And it's like to be in college, like that close to the finish line, and then to be like, I don't want to do this no more. This
Yeah.
abort. Like, nah, I definitely understand, because like I was like that, and it was like I kind of came into my awakening around junior, senior year of college as well. And it's crazy studying engineering as well. It's like, cause you can go get a good job, make good money, but it's like, what your soul go feel like? Are you gonna be happy with, and it's like it's so many different realms and stuff you can go in. And like I'll say with all of this, like, how did you come up with the name Pyramid Realm? Like, how did this come about? Like, that's a pretty dope name.
All
I'm
right.
talking
So,
something right now.
so for me, like I love science, and like I've got a lot of respect for science. And so when I started getting into spirituality and studying these ancient peoples, like I think I needed something for my scientific mind to kind of latch onto of like okay, there's more to this reality than I understand. And one thing that I always found myself kept circling back to is like these damn pyramids, bro. Like what is up with these pyramids? Like why did they build them? Why is modern science now confirming that they have these properties, these electromagnetic properties? How were different civilizations that supposedly were not connected at all like able to construct these pyramids that are matching around the world? And so for me, like pyramids were that gateway for my analytical mind to kind of open itself up to grasp a greater reality,
Yeah.
and to view it kind of as a puzzle. And so I knew I wanted something with pyramids, and I honestly I went on to GoDaddy, and I was gonna buy a domain. I was like, okay, I want to build a website. It sounds kind of fun to like organize my thoughts on all of this. And I just typed in pyramid, and there's like a bunch of suggestions, and like immediately like five down, I saw Pyramid Realm, and I was like, that's it, that's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Because I like the idea that like when you go like I wanted to create something that you could escape the matrix from, you know, like escape this everyday hustle bustle like rat race. And so I like the idea that you were going into the pyramid realm. Like when I was studying or when I was like working on the website, it's like I was leaving the real world and I was inside the pyramid realm.
Yeah. That's where you're going to get your downloads. You're going into the pyramid round to get your downloads, and then you come back into the matrix and then start dropping gems and start, spreading the love and telepathically.
Totally. No, that's it, you know. And I honestly like it's been pretty crazy to me. Like I genuinely feel like the business itself has a life of its own. You know, like I started it, I wrote it, but the whole time like I felt like there was like Pyramid Realm itself had some life, and it was almost like it was like using me to channel it, you know, and just like and yeah, so I just committed. I remember actually. So when I was buying the domain, I I was like Pyramid Realm. That sounds right. And then I went to go pull the trigger on buying it, and it costed like $30 or something. And at this point, like I was a broke college kid.
Yeah.
I was like that was a rack of beer for me. Like I was questioning. I was like I don't know if I need to do this, you know, and to bring a lot of like the social ramifications of it too, you know, because once I came out of the closet of like psychedelics, conspiracies, the government's full of shit, researcher spirituality, like it's a lot to like take on, you know, especially where I was at. You know, I was partying, you know, I was a frat star, and I and so I put it down. I was like, you know, I don't need to do this. I don't need to buy this website. And I walked outside, and I remember like I walked like 10, 15 yards, and I saw this little like crumpled up piece of paper on the side of the sidewalk, and it was a $20 bill. And so I like got up and I picked up the $20 bill, and like I was like, you know what? Okay, you know, like universe, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And so I instantly like went back into the library, and I pulled trig. I bought the domain. I started building it out. I was like, wherever this takes me, like this is what my heart wants. And so even if like along the way, like my ego gets bruised, you know, or like I lose some people who don't understand me anymore, they can't relate to me. I like whatever like whatever's happening, like I trust the process, and I trust that it's like clearing the way for what I really want for myself. And yeah, it feels good to be. I feel like I'm now I feel like I'm on the other side of it. Like I made it, you know, and I found out who was really there for me the whole time. I found some really like who my lifelong friends are. I made connections like on the internet too. Like
It's crazy. It's crazy
I,
what following your path would do.
totally.
It's like whenever you live in the life that somebody's given to you, like going to school to be an engineer, like somebody gave this blueprint. It's like, hey, this worked for them. it's gonna work for you. And it's like you don't really know the ramifications and how you got to compromise yourself to be around certain people, you know, and it's a lot of stuff that you kind of like really don't realize until it's kind of later. But it's like when you start to actually follow your path and, talking about like psychedelics, talking about spirituality, talking about conspiracy, talking about the government, talking about all of these different things, it really starts to like, people start to like fade away. And now it's so beautiful. But then on the other side, like people come in through the woodworks.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. You can just see with like, just like our brands and how people respond. It's like people come by the boatloads. It's like, and it's just like you just being you. You know, you just talk about like a random thought that come in my mind. Oh, let me talk about this, or like this podcast. Like, oh, this is something I've been pondering on for years, and like now I can just get it off my heart. And it's like it's just a beautiful thing to just like follow your own path. It's like that's what this whole life is about. We sent ourselves for a mission.
And I love it because like for me on Pyramid, like I'm in that mentality. Nothing's off limits. Like because like I want to break the mold of everything, like I want to break the mold of what spirituality is supposed to look like. I want to break the mold of like what business partnerships are supposed to look like. Like I want to just like be so authentically myself. And yeah, I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about conspiracies. I want to talk about like anything that like relates to my universe. Like it's on limits because who's gonna stop me? Like
yeah. Besides, the only person that can stop you is self. When you really like, it's crazy. Alone this whole time is like, even like you like when you were saying like the roadblocks and like hurting your own ego, and it's like, of course, like I didn't have my fair share of experiences along my journey as well. But it's literally like the story you create about what had happened, and then it's like you get down on yourself, and it's like you take outside, but then like some divine experience comes, like the $20 or the right person come your way, and it's like you just get a little bit more juice, a little bit, it's like riding that wave, really.
Yeah, I feel like the universe like strings you along on your path. Like when you need a sign to keep going, something will pop up. And like it can look like anything. Like sometimes it's an animal comes up and like gives you a little head nuzzle or something. Whatever it is, it's like when you are looking for that affirmation that you're on the right path, and you need a synchronicity, like it'll come. And the more faith I had in the process, the more peace I found.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can fight this the whole way. Like I know at some level like where I want to be. I want to own my own business. I want to have a brand. I want to help artists quit their day jobs and pursue their dreams. I want to travel the world. I want to buy land. Like I have all these things like I know I want. They're like deep in me. Yeah. And so I kind of found peace, and like I can fight that every step of the way, or I can surrender to that, and like set my intention with the universe. Like this is what I want. Like this is where I want to be. And like I'm not arrogant enough that I think I know the path exactly that's going to get me there. Like that's the universe. That's the universal intelligence. That's God. That's beyond me. And if I put my faith in that and stay true to myself, like then that's where I'm going to end up.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it works. It's like you have these things, it's like you have to ask yourself some deep questions, like, who am I? What do I want? Like, what type of life do I envision for myself? And it's like, I like to like see that as like a higher self, it's like a higher self, lower self, and then there's you, and it's like the decisions you make every day literally gets you to the path, like, you say you want this, but then like you making actions to do, that goes against, what you say you want. And then life doesn't work out like the way you want it to go. And it's like, you can look at your choices and decisions and what you choose to focus on and be like, all right, I wasn't really doing this, or I really need to do it. I need to go ahead and get back focused. And it's like whenever you are in alignment with that and you doing what you need to do, it's like, and you just like surrender and have faith in that. It's like it really does just take you there, you know. And it's like I see, you know, it's like you see so many success stories, you see so many people that like you can tell that they believe in themselves, you know, and it's like on some like real self love, like not people that just get like $1 million, $1 billion, and then go do
Yeah.
some bullshit with it. Like, you know, it's like you want to buy land so you can grow your own food, do community projects, you know, uh, have better relationships with family, business partners, romantic partners, you know, and it's like all of these things that you have in mind, you know, like that's the focus, you know, like, you know, it really becomes like a distraction, like when we start to give in to the day by day stuff, you know, like the news when they telling you what to care about, like religion when they tell you who to pray to, you know, like family drama or whatever the case may be, and it's like it's really
Yeah.
a big ass distraction.
And for me, like that, there's a huge differentiation between like I feel like I found a lot of faith in like the universe, whatnot, you know, like, but that doesn't necessarily mean like religious faith.
Yeah,
Like I have faith that things are gonna work out, but I also understand like I believe in myself. You
yeah,
know, like I believe that like whatever whatever it takes to get there, like I have that, you know, and as the hurdles come, like I'm gonna overcome. And yeah, I think it's a powerful realization just to realize like how powerful you are and not to be afraid to fail. Like that's one thing I'm really good at myself. You know, is like I and no like I knew when I started the journey, I was like, I'm gonna fall on my face. I'm gonna make a fool of myself. I'm gonna I'm gonna screw up 100 times. And like I knew that going in. I was like, and and every time I like mess up or I get some like feedback back from the universe, like it's a correction. You know, like I started seeing failures as corrections, and then like it's almost like when you mess up, it's like you're one step closer to your goal because you received the correction and you made the adjustment, and now you're just a little bit more aligned with that reality that you wanna live.
yeah. I mean, because it's like faith is a practice, you know, it's like faith and confidence. It's not something that you just build overnight. You know, it's like you have to practice believing in yourself, you know, taking this step and then falling and then having the confidence to get back up and keep going. And that's something you know, it's like I've noticed along my journey as well. It's like, you know, because it's like you go through days where like you the utmost confident, you got all the confidence in the world. And then sometimes it's like, dang, like what I get myself into, like it's like it's crazy, like, but it's like at the same time, it's like that's a part of the journey because you won't really appreciate, you know, what you really did, you know, the practice you did, all the time and effort, and all the 10,000 hours to build this confidence in your superpowers, you know, and it's like it's crazy, like faith is so powerful, and it's like you can't you can fake confidence, but it's like faith, you can't fool yourself. You know, it's
Yeah,
like when you really believe that about yourself and know that you are worth it and know that like everything is working for you, you know, even the failures or the corrections, like you said, they help you to get to where you want where you need to be because you wouldn't know that you needed to be here unless you bust your ass here.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm I'm a big believer in forgiving yourself too. Like
that's important.
I think a lot of people like they experience a failure or they mess up and then they just like give in to shame, you know, and give in to like yeah, and they start just being so hard on themselves, you know, like oh I should have done it 100% perfect right out the gate, and it's just like
It don't work like that.
it's not realistic and you're holding yourself back. Like you are kind of in charge of how long you shame yourself. And and yeah, I think that helped me a lot in my journey. It's like I have a good sense of humor about things, you know, like I'm quick to let things go and find some way to laugh about them. and I'm also really quick to forgive myself. Like I I think there's a lot of power in that, and like committing to the process, and like finding joy in the process, and as a part of that, like find humor in the process. Find humor when the divine gives you some feedback that you need to shift this way, that you need to do this. Like instead of taking everything so seriously, like you actually manifest quicker from a light state where you're kind of like almost like you're detached from outcome.
Yeah.
Like I want $10,000 in sales by tomorrow.
Yeah.
But like if it doesn't happen, it doesn't really matter. Like, and I think when you fixate like too hard on an outcome you want, you can almost like push it away.
Push it away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's like I get what you're saying. It's like you want it so bad, but you push it away because it's like sometimes you're like you're scared of it, or you might not feel like you
Yeah.
deserve it. And so it's like, like I'm a real firm believer that, forgiving yourself, being kind and compassionate with yourself, it's huge, because it's like you're able to laugh at you'll be able to laugh at yourself when you fall or when you make a mistake and different stuff like that. And that kind of just leads me into my next question. Like, what is God to you? What is the universe? What is this higher power that that you have this faith in, or like what is that for you?
Yeah, that's the big question. I think for me, it's like recognize that balance of like God is within me. Like I think all is God. I think this is the manifestation of God's imagination, and so I think like that you have that ability to tap into God within you. Like like God can create, you can create. God can laugh, you can laugh, and God can make memories, and you can like you have so much of the the ability of God, and that's because you are made in His image. But then there's also that God is something. It's also around you. It's outside of you. It's other people. It's not just you. And so yeah, I mean it's a tricky question, but for me it's like it's everything. Like I'm a mystic, so I think the rivers are God, and like, and I don't even necessarily care if people call it God, like I think you can call it spirit, you can call it the global consciousness,
Yeah.
like I think in some sense like all of our consciousness is connected, like, and and we are one species, and so I think that like I think we like are connected, like I think like we're like feedback receptors for the global consciousness. So like we go through our lives and like we have certain experiences and we feel a certain way about them, so like if enough people work a 9 to 5 job and they start thinking like I hate this bullshit, like I hate this, like whatever, then like by being real with themselves about how they feel about that experience, then I feel like they're like sending that feedback back to the global consciousness of humanity, and then like from there that like greater intelligence of the universe can like factor in all these different consciousnesses that are like coexisting together, and it starts to like formulate some plan to harmonize them. And so that's what I mean when I say I have like faith in forces outside of myself, and the process is like I think there is some great divine plan that has a role for all of us based on our skills, based on our purpose here. And so I have a lot of faith in that, but then I also have a lot of faith in like God within myself that I found, which is like no matter what the circumstances are, like I I choose how I respond
Yeah.
to my environment, and I think like that's part of what being awakened is. When you're asleep, everything is reactionary, like you see something to be afraid of, and you're scared and you're anxious and you're constantly just like in this reaction state that I think we're actually like intentionally kept in to to stop us from reaching higher realms of consciousness. And yeah, I'm going on a bit of a rant, but like
I'm really enjoying this. I'm just peeping like because I really enjoy your explanation, and it's impossible to describe the indescribable, it's like I just love to talk about it, but it's like I have a big belief that people treat people, and then the people treat people how they think God treats them,
yeah,
and then they'll treat themselves accordingly. They'll treat themselves how they think God treats them, and so it's like when you have this faith that that the creator, the divine God universe, it wants for you what you want for you, and you have divine abilities to create your reality and to be kind and compassionate to yourself. Then you're able to give that love and kindness to the world. And it's like that's why I just really love that question, and like I appreciate that answer.
and I love that you said like what you said about how like people treat other people how they think God treats them, and like I think you can tie that back to some of the problems I have with religion, which is like this judgmental God. You know, that there's something like some God outside of you that is looking down on you and like judging you, and like yeah, and it and people buy into this, and then they go around and they feel vindicated judging other people. You know, they're like, the way you live your life is wrong. You know, like, oh, you want to get married to someone of the same sex. Oh, like my God is against that. You know, and like
Yeah,
it just creates all this separation and division that yeah. And so on the flip side, if you see God as like this loving intelligence that is woven through all of creation, then like you're going to be more like prone to encourage people to live their most authentic self,
yeah,
because that to me is like that is that's their higher self, you know, their most authentic expression. You
yeah.
know, that's God speaking through them.
Yeah, because it's like because you're giving to the universe the energy that you're giving to yourself. And it's like when you got your self love practices, your self care practices, your yoga, your meditation, your smoothies, your plant based meals. It's like your mind becomes clear. Your spirit becomes clear. You become more light, and so you're able to share the light. And like it's crazy, it's like having an engineering background and then kind of like transitioning into like the spiritual realm. How did you kind of like balance that, or like did they have some kind of like effect on like how you perceive this whole realm?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely grateful for like the experiences I've had. You know, like I think I think the education system is kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
But like I learned a lot in engineering about like creative problem solving, and yeah, and that's kind of what got me into it all. Is like I started like rewiring my brain to like when I see problems, instead of like being someone that like complains about problems, or like it's just like man, or just like to be an active part of the solution.
yeah,
And so like eventually like I started looking around in the world. You know, I started like stopped focusing so much on just my own reality. You know, like not everything is about like service to self. You know, like I started looking around in the world, like how can we make this world better? You know, and I started like really thinking, and I was like, we have all the tools it takes from like an engineering problem solving standpoint to like to end poverty, to stop so much of the homelessness we see. You know, like we can take these on. We're at a point in our civilization where we don't need to be living off of these survival like instincts anymore. We can transcend that. And so
yeah,
then from there, that's really where I got into the conspiracy world, was like from that place of like, okay, if we have everything it takes, you know, to build this better world, and if we as conscious beings can create our own reality, then like why aren't we doing it? You know, why aren't our leaders talking about this? Like, what is the priorities of our government? And as I got into the priorities of our government, I realized the priorities of our government is to control us and to enslave us. And like that's a hard truth to swallow, you know, like the idea that like you are paying taxes to an institution that then turns around and sends half your money off the bat to go make up wars and fight wars to fuel the military industrial complex, and then like the of the half of the money that's left, a quarter of it goes into clandestine projects that are like literally like MK Ultra, like they're brainwashing you, like
Yeah.
and and yeah, and like and it's all stuff that we stole from the Nazis. Like we didn't defeat the Nazis. We went over and then we hired most of their top scientists and they're like Hitler's advisors, and we literally like incorporated them into our government. And so like it's time to educate ourselves. You know, that's the revolution, is like we got to face that and come to terms with that so that we can do something about it, so that we can address it and like create a better world. You know, that's what I always try to loop back to, you know, like I always like that's what I'm here for, is I want like the world that I pass off to my kids, like I want to be able to feel like I did everything within my power to make that world a place where they're allowed to go outside without a mask, you know, like
For real, man. It's crazy how we really are, like how the world is right now. And it's like you said a few different things. I really like the part about like the feedback loop and how like this change of consciousness and even this right here. It's like we putting these thoughts and energy out into the universe, and there's more and more people doing this, you know. And it's like it's kind of like now it's counteracting the negative propaganda that's, you know,
yeah.
the negative propaganda feedback loop that's been going on and on. And it's like you were saying, like leaving this place better than you got it, you know. And it's like it's so many different ways, and like education is key. You know, the revolution is like they say, the revolution won't be televised. The revolution happens within. You know, you got to educate yourself and feel better about yourself. You know, like the biggest thing is how you feel about you, you know. And it's like building that confidence, reading books, you know, actually practice meditating, you know, not just trying it one time and saying, oh, I'm not getting it right, you know, like, and that's like any kind of project, you know, like giving yourself the opportunity to fail, you know, because it takes you to where you need to be. And it's like, you know, it's like leave this place better than you know, leave it better than you got it. You know, it's like I don't think nobody's happy with how the world is. Like this place is crazy, or at least it's crazy on TV. You know, it's like you walk around like the streets and like, you know, you really don't come across too much crazy stuff outside of like what you see on social media and like on the news and what people just talk about. Like, but when you actually in the present moment, it doesn't really seem like the world is like as chaotic. And this just could be me in my mind, but it doesn't seem as chaotic if you don't watch them forcing chaos and fear down your throat.
And that's the illusion, you know, like that. And what's crazy is like this is another tough pill to swallow, like the way that they like control this world, you know, like the way that the people that have the powers that be, we'll call it that, you know, like the way that they have manipulated this reality is by projecting that image, you know, that we are living in a world at war with itself. We are living in a world with terrorism rampant everywhere, and civilians killing themselves, and racism and all these things. Like to an extent, like those things exist, but they're intentionally having us hyper focus our mind on it because we are the manifestors of our own reality. And so like people are unconsciously fueling that reality by tuning into the news.
Yeah.
Like they watch the news all day, they see, and you'll never see in the news, there's no hope. Like that's what's so bullshit. They're going to show you all these wars, all this like disgusting racism, all this shit. And they never spin it to where like, and there's a solution to this.
Yeah, never,
And
never.
this. No, it's like, this is just how the world is. Accept it, accept it, accept it. And then if you're not someone who's willing to think for yourself and to kind of break out of that box, then your mind will be used like to manifest that reality. Like you believe in that reality, so you're manifesting it. And
Yeah,
so that's the war. Like the revolution that I fight in is like I don't need to get my torch and like pitchfork and go like skewer politicians. Like I think of like the Twitter feed is a war in itself. You know, like if you start reprogramming, if you start deprogramming people's mind from these, like the remnants of these mind control programs, and then reprogramming them with like love and acceptance and gratitude for life, like that is going to change the the fabric of reality.
yeah. It's crazy because it's like I 100% like agree and see that happening because it's like they know as like humans, as a species, as like just beings on this planet, we're abundant beings, and it's like you can have abundant negativity or you can have abundant prosperity, and it's like whatever you feed your mind, like you said, you'll be used to push. Like if you're not thinking for yourself, you'll be used to push somebody else's agenda, and 9 times out of 10 it's not in alignment with the life you want to live, and it's usually fear, greed, malice, and it's like you start to act this way towards people, and then it's like when you condemn somebody else, judge somebody else, you're doing that to yourself. So it's like when you judge them, you got to go back at home and look at yourself in the mirror. You got, dang, like because it all comes back full circle. Like nobody's susceptible. Like when you like shitting on people and like talking greasy, it's like you talking to yourself that way, and it's like you find yourself unhappy, bitter, not feeling love, and it's crazy because like we are abundant, but it's like when you, like you said, when you start like deprogramming the negativity and fear and start reprogramming yourself with love, kindness, consciousness, and doing these things that will make you better, you become like a prosperous, abundant being. You be able to, you're able to push your own agenda and your own positive propaganda, and like just to spread love. And it's like you start to refuel yourself. It's like when you give love to somebody else, then you're able to give it back. It's like when you give it kindness and compassion, you giving it back. Like we only reflections of God. What you give to God, you give to yourself. And so like that's how I see it. And like the biggest issue I see us having is like our belief about God. It's like that war on the inside. They telling people that you got this really evil person, you got this divine pure person, and they got to fight. They got to fight, but they can't like dance with each other. They can't have fun with each other. And it's like you start to like they try to make you like hate that like darkness that that we all have. And it's like it's not even. Was you about to say something?
Totally. No, I disagree. Like I totally agree. That's what I felt like when I started my awakening is like I was this frat boy, and I'm still like very much like in touch with that side of myself, like I like I live my life very intentionally. I treat people with respect, and I encourage others to live their truth.
Yeah.
And then like some days like I throw giant parties still, and I get turned and I listen to loud music and I dance around and like and I started to realize like yeah, they're pinning us against each other. They want like, and there's a war on masculinity too, for sure. And so I just wanted to break all that, and to show like you can hold all these things, like, and those are also the things I try to tweet, are like the things that connect us, like, and and in like in embracing our divinity and like our truth as powerful co-creators of reality, like, and to embrace our oneness, as a species and one with the universe, we can still empower our individuality, you know, like people going and partying, like that has nothing to do with the wars and the bullshit, you know, like they're deflecting the anger and the frustration that people have with society, and they're deflecting it on people who are just living living their life, you know. And we see that now more than ever in terms of like like when I go for a walk outside, I'm not gonna wear a mask. Like if I need to go into a store and there's elderly couples, I'll bandana up. I'm not trying to be a dick, but people need to understand we are being stripped of our essential liberties straight on on a historic level. Like
Man,
you don't even realize what's happening, because if you give into the fear and their narratives, then it just it seems so sensible. Like, oh,
they could just ease it in.
of course I'm not allowed to leave my house. Of course I'm not allowed to go outside without a mask on. Like, what's
You the
next?
crazy one if you do it. Like, what are you doing? They become like an agent, on the Matrix. It's like they got this program, and it's like once they put that program out, if you go against it, what the hell you doing? Like, why you got no mask on?
Like,
Why you
are you going outside without your mask on? You're, and also and that's part of that's how they divide us, is all of a sudden, you have, if you're tuned into the mainstream, you now see everyone outside who is walking around without a mask on. You classify them in your judgments as a bad person. Like
it's
like
ridiculous.
you classify them as your enemy. Like, wow, this person doesn't care about health, and they don't care about other people, they don't care about grandma. And the truth is, you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
You didn't give them the time of day. And yeah, we ultimately I don't know. That's why I think it's so important to know yourself and know the world you want to live in, because you are manifesting
Yeah.
whether you are conscious or unconscious. You know,
Yeah.
and so you should be conscious of the world that you're manifesting. And we're in this weird like this weird moment in history where I feel like it's a pivotal point where there's these branching realities, and there's this one dystopian shit show that's being pushed on us, you know, that's anti-human, you know, that's everyone, yeah, everyone needs to be living in fear of death, and it's just it's so unnatural, and it ultimately just serves the agenda of these giant mega corporations. Like Amazon's having the year of their life, you know, whereas small businesses, local restaurants, we're putting those out of business. And yeah, I can go off on this stuff, and it's not that I'm not open-minded to other perspectives. I just think people need to hear that other side of things, of okay, before we do, before you go along with this, think for yourself,
Yeah.
what.
Because a lot of people just look at the news, go to church, look at anybody that listen to doctors, that anybody that look like they're in a position of authority, and they just take their word without even going and researching it themselves. They'll hear sound bites. It's like, oh, that's the truth, just because it's coming from the box. It's coming from what they what's being what they're used to. And it's like you said, it's knowing yourself is key, because it's you know yourself. You watch something on TV, that don't make no sense. Why is this like this every day?
like
Why is this being fed every day? It
like
ain't nothing good going on in the world.
do you want to live in a world with no live music?
Uh,
Like, no, no, I don't give a shit. I'm not and that's another thing that kind of happened at some point in my journey of awakening, is I don't really I'm not afraid of death as much, you know. It's almost it's this exciting thing, you know. It's part of the unknown, it's the next chapter,
yeah,
whatever. But I'm not afraid of it, you know. And I'm sure as hell not going to live my life and let all my decisions be driven by fear of that,
yeah,
you know. And yeah, I think it's very dangerous to to start giving, like, going along with things because you think it's right out of fear or out of desire for safety. You know, like, I think we should do things on the broad scale that, like, are in the best interest of the public health, you know, and we should take care of people and we should take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But if we really wanted to take care of people's health, we would start to teach them how to become masters of their own health, you
Yeah.
know, and to start, like, reprogramming and empowering people to believe in their immune system. Like I just read the book Becoming Supernatural
Oh yeah.
by Joe Dispenza, and
Joe Dispenza, yeah.
it's a great book, and he talks about all these miraculous, like
Did he get like in
healing.
a bike accident and ended up like, or some kind of accident, or maybe I'm thinking about somebody else.
I'm not sure. I just finished it, but he had just all these examples of these workshops that he hosts where people come in with, like, chronic pain they've had for years, like they've lost hearing in an ear, they have a mass that they need surgery on, and, like, he has these cases where he gets people to surrender in meditation and heal themselves, you know, like, without anything happening, but they're
Yeah.
healed. It's like miraculous self-healing. And, like I don't know, like, I have always, like, even before I was, like, really conscious, like, I've always been conscious of my self-talk, you know, like, I I am healthy, I am protected, I'm safe. Like, I'm constantly, like, affirming these things to my body, and, like, and I'm not perfect, but, like, I haven't been sick in, like, in, like, 5 years, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I genuinely think that if the government, if, like, the mainstream, if these news corporations cared about your health, like, I think they would be telling you to, like, connect with your spirit, to go get outside and go jump in a natural body of water, go soak up some vitamin D, go eat natural food. Like, they wouldn't be pushing all these pharmaceutical solutions. They wouldn't be making you live in a constant state of anxiety and fear of this virus, you know, like.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like, we, like,
It's like that fear is like a program. It's like it really is a program. And it's like if you ingest it and take that in, you become easy to control. You know, it's like at any moment they can pull the trigger and you upset. You are furious at something that happened overseas that you don't even know the full story about. You upset about somebody not wearing a mask. And it's like when you, like I was saying earlier, it's like when you fear certain stuff, it's like when you fear catching corona, a cold, the flu, when it's like when you believe that fear, you start to like take on the energy. You saying, I want to get
Yeah.
sick. I want this. And you know, because it's like you're giving so much attention, so much energy, so much like focus to it that you start to like, because it's like you said, it's like we're creating whether we're aware of it or not. And what you choose to focus on, you know, your words, your actions, and your deeds, they create your reality. So what you focusing on is going to affect the words you speak. You speak in fear, you speak in hate, you speak in judgment, you judging yourself, and that vibration, like, it's lowering your vibration.
Totally.
But when you speaking that, you know, I need to go out and get some sun, get some vitamin D, I need to get some water, I need to go grounding, I need to meditate. You start to speak this into existence, and you start to reprogram yourself for peace and abundance and, you know, love and kindness. And you can just tell, you just feel the difference when you start to like take your energy away from all the bullshit that's been like holding you back, really, you know. And it's always been an illusion of holding you back. Like you can easily turn off the TV at any moment, turn
Totally.
off the radio at any moment.
Totally.
Like I'm a big believer in fasting from that type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
initially in my journey, like to like kind of detach from everything, like you say, when you going into your awakening, you cutting off all relationships, all friendships, like you trying to see what's real, like who's real, what's real, what do I need to be feeding in myself. And then like fasting from the internet, fasting from TV, fasting from church, you know, fasting from these things that I thought was right, that aren't getting me to where I want to be. You know, like I'm like, okay, Oh, my mom, my dad, my brother, everybody say, oh, this what I'm supposed to be doing. That's cool. Like, it's cool, but like when it don't work, you gotta start asking your questions that go a different route. You know, you gotta reprogram yourself instead of letting somebody else give you the blueprint, give you the direction. It's like it's cool to take advice, but it's like you got your own mind, you got your own heart, you got your own spirit, and it's guiding you. You know, trust yourself. That's the key.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. I, I think it was yesterday, but someone said like, don't take advice or don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from. And like I really believe that, you know, like we're like people are constantly telling you how to live your life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like everything, you know, from the church, from the news corporations, from the education system, from the government, like from your family, from your friends, like everyone is constantly telling you how to live your life. And some of them have your best interest in mind, you know, and like some of them have a lot of wisdom that they've experienced in their own, like that they've accumulated in their own experiences, and they're relaying that onto you, and you can genuinely learn from other people's experiences and their advice. But if you got someone who like is not happy with their own life,
Yeah.
and like they're telling you how to live your life, like fucking don't listen, like because they clearly don't have the advice you want, or you're gonna end up where they are.
Yeah, you can look at their life, and do you want your life to look like that? So why you listening to them? You
And
know,
the
like yeah,
real secret also is like people that are happy with their life, they don't want to tell you how to live your life.
that's
like
yeah,
I don't want that on me. Like people keep coming into my DMs like oh like
yeah,
I'm gonna keep it broad because I don't want to like make anyone feel alienated, but like oh like I want to do this and I want to chase this, but my girlfriend thinks this, my parents think this, and I don't respond because I'm not you. I'm not in your life.
yeah.
I don't know the situation. So like don't put that on me. You
Yeah.
know, like
I'm
because
not I'm not a guru. I'm not
I'm not a
you
guru.
know, I'm
Like
a messenger.
all I do is I live my life, I make myself happy, and then I go on Twitter and I say the things, like I speak my truth.
Yeah, and leave
That's
it at
all
that.
I'm interested in doing. I'm not interested in telling people what's good for them, what makes a good person. I just like I just want people to stay true to themselves,
Yeah.
and like I want to guide people back to themselves. And
That's what a real leader does. Like a real leader creates more leaders instead of like creating followers and people to say, "Oh, I need to go to Braden. Oh, I need to go to Jadeverett." Like for this, like they got the answers. Like no, you got the answers. I just got my truth and my questions, and you could possibly formulate your own answers from there. I'm attempting and like I'm doing, but it's like every like it's crazy. It's like you literally like innately we all know the direction we should go, and it's like we'll overthink ourselves and talk ourselves out of the direction. It's like literally like going like and it's crazy. It's like I don't like to say like that first mind, but most of the time it is that thought. Like it is the oh dang, like let me start this business, like and let me write a book. And then like that's the thought that's true. And then the thoughts after like, how am I gonna write it? Who's gonna publish it? Who's gonna buy it? You know, all of that stuff is it comes later and it can be a distraction. But it's like, no, follow that, you know, that thought, you know, that love, that passion, you know, what uplifts you, you know, what makes you feel good during the day, you know, like that's the path. And it's like I'm not taking no advice from nobody that's not following their path. You know, like, and they're happy with their life. You know, it's like you can tell by talking to somebody if they're happy because it's like how they'll talk to you. They gonna try to force their ideas, or they gonna be open to having an exchange and building on both ideas.
tell you, like I knew I had healed a lot. Like this is one thing I did in my Twitter journey, honestly, is early on, like there were a few accounts that like they would say something and it would kind of trigger me. And like so I put those accounts on a list. and I stayed up with them, you know, like I was like, these accounts, like, they probably rub me the wrong way. They probably trigger me for a reason. They probably are pointing to something that I haven't healed within myself.
Yeah.
And so I, yeah, I kept following them, and like I knew I'd healed when like I can't remember the last time that I was like genuinely like triggered about something, or that like I saw something and I was like, grr, you know, like, and, and like that's a good feeling, you know, like, because it's like I just like I just want to be me, you know, that's all I want to be. And someone else living their truth, that has no like that has no impact on whether I'm allowed to live my truth. Like that's their sovereign right to live their truth.
Yeah.
And the only thing that pisses me off is like these bullshit agendas that infringe on people's sovereign rights to live their life.
Yeah.
You know, like every person has a right to exist on this earth, to express the truth as they see it,
Mm-hmm.
to 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 follow the dream that was put inside their heart. You know, like people have the right to do that, and you don't know what that could look like. It could look like starting a barbecue enterprise, or it could look like selling pyramids, or a fire ass socks. You know, like whatever it is, like people have the right to pursue that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the world we're entering into. Is we're entering into a world where people are going to become their own authority figures, and yeah, and feel empowered to go live their life. And that's why I like fuck the government, because like really if you trace it back of like what is really stopping people and like really standing in the way of people being able to do these things, it's the same institution we're paying our taxes to.
It's something that's trying to keep you dependent on them. So
Yes.
like, and it's like they do it with fear, greed, and it's like it's crazy you say this about like just this. It's like just this government. It's like governments all over are corrupt. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
crazy.
It's a network.
It's the whole, and it really is. And it's like think about it like this. It's like even like the Queen of England, and how in Britain they sent some people to America, and then we thinking that America uh, doesn't have to go to them for approval of everything. It's like the lady been like I've been watching a show called The Crown, and they talk about like the Queen of England, her sister. They talk about their family issues, like just their mindset and how they see the world. And it's like with the Nazis, and like they had like their generals was like brothers with the Nazis, like in Germany and Great Britain, and then they sending people here. They like Hitler's like his scientists and all of that. And it's just crazy that we're like listening to these people. It's like, taking them as our authority figures. It's like when history, history, you can formulate and you can do what you want with history, but it's like you can pick up the breadcrumbs along the way and see like, damn, this is happening over and over and over again. It's like this is fucked up.
You have to know history or you are doomed to repeat it. Like
Oh,
that's been the I don't know, like every historian, every philosopher has warned us of this. And like I mean even Hitler was he was massively into his esoteric studies, like he was studying Sanskrit, he was studying these ancient relics and these ancient belief systems. And like if you want to understand the world on like a deeper level than this like surface level political arena bullshit that you're sold, like you're gonna have to look into the history. And what you're gonna find is like is both infuriating and it's wondrous, like and that's the mentality I always kept while I was studying this. Is like, wow, like the world's pretty fucked up, but
yeah.
like it's way more interesting than I had been told, like
It's a divine place. It's a magical place. It's like this power, like you said, he was studying these Sanskrits and these ancient texts and doing these esoteric, his esoteric studies. It's all a tool. It's all information. It's like what you use it for. It's like the mindset. Because like you said, it can be infuriating when you see people like killing 6 million people, shooting black people in the street, you know, taking over these small countries all over the world. It's like you can see what they're using as powerful, but you also have people that are using it that's esoteric power to spread love. And you know how we're able to be on this wavelength because somebody before us gave all their love, all, you know, they gave all their kindness, all this energy, you know, for us to be, you know, us to take it to the next level. And so it's like, man, getting your mind right, getting your heart right, like, and getting your spirit right is key. It's like that's like the most thing. It's like knowing yourself is key because it's like if you don't know history, you can so first off you can learn a lot about yourself through studying history.
Yeah.
Because like you go study your own history and your own patterns, and then you like, okay, I have a pattern of doing X, Y, Z, so I need to change this. And then you can say, oh damn, they got a pattern of doing X, Y, Z. That's fucked up. I don't need to listen to them. Or they got a pattern of X, Y, Z and they're good people. Like, let me surround myself with them. Let me understand
And
what's going on here.
and if you study it like then the present moment becomes a lot more interesting because you start to recognize I think the mask and social distancing is like a perfect like example, right? Where you and the vaccine. Let's group them all into something like and address it through the lens of history. Like throughout history, the way that governments have divided a population is to create fear, create a narrative, and then direct the fear of the people following the narrative towards the people that don't buy into the narrative. You know, so like these are tactics that have been used throughout history, as well as false flag operations, where the government does aggressive acts of violence towards their own population to drive up fear. Like this is something that has happened repeatedly. And then so think about the mask and social distancing, right? Like everyone's afraid of COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone's afraid of death, of illness, of the pandemic. And then they're frustrated, they're mad, they're angry, and then if you strictly follow the mainstream narrative, you're going to direct all of that frustration, anger, hatred, fear towards anyone who isn't following the program.
Mm-hmm.
You've literally been programmed to hate people who aren't following the program. You've been brainwashed.
Yeah.
And like that's a hard pill to swallow because you want to feel dignified. You want to feel like you're justified going around hating your neighbor who's walking around without a mask. Oh, he doesn't fucking care. You know, like you want to feel like you're in the right. And that's how someone like Hitler did what he did, is he convinced people that they were on the right side of history. Yeah. He convinced people that they were fighting for what was just, and he brainwashed them. Yeah. And like and I'm not saying that we're going to witness that at all. Like I don't want to put that out there, but be very like people need to be very conscientious of what they're asking for censorship. They're asked like,
I mean, it's already happening to an extent.
It's already happening.
Like we're already seeing the repeat. You know, it's like it's just not broadcast like the 6 million people, but it's like it's 6 million people that the government it's you know it's like all the government is like. And it's like I don't even like to do that whole like I don't like to do the whole blame thing anymore. But it's like the people that we put in these positions doing the same thing. It's like and like you're saying like how Hitler convinced people to be like be on. He's thinking that he's convinced people that they're on the right side of history. It's like they're not thinking. They're just looking at the TV, like listen to his speeches and not reading books to say, damn, did what he actually say happen? Did it go like that? Like, did somebody who else has this story that I can read it from a different perspective? Do they have another perspective? And it's like when you're not like double checking and fact checking for yourself, not looking for somebody else to fact check the facts. It's like you have to go and YouTube University, read hundreds of books, like actually talk to people and get that dialogue, to understand.
And like your own intuition is an incredible resource.
Oh,
like
The biggest.
You have a thing in your mind called a pineal gland that is more like has more information and access to like there's information in the air, like there's information in the electromagnetic waves that are around us all the time, and like the more you raise your frequency, the more you tune into that, like the more aware you become of reality.
Yeah.
You know, and like so when you're running on these fear-based programs, you're tuned out, you're shutting yourself off to those messages that are in the air. And like, but when you meditate, when you calm your mind, like you allow yourself to pick up on different perspectives that are floating around in the global consciousness. And yeah, I think it's a crazy time to be alive. And I
It's a beautiful place, man. I'm happy I'm here, right now,
it's been one of the
in the
best
midst
years
of
of my life. Straight up, one of the best years of my life.
yeah. It's like it's been a crazy year. It's like you had to get to know yourself this year. It's like this year is like it forced that self reflection, like forced you to work on projects, or it didn't. You know, it's like you could have just went by the wayside, watched TV, and let the real virus. The virus is fear. Like
Yeah.
they just call it COVID, they call it bird flu, they call it, they call it whatever. Many years over, the vaccine is like it's a vaccine for fear. It's to make you more fearful.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Like the flu shot. It's like, man, don't get that vaccine, please.
Nah, I'm not. And like, but that's a good, like, I saw on Twitter that, I saw Twitter is now, like, they have weaponized their platform to, they will be removing all, quote, misinformation about the vaccine. They
Yeah.
will be wiping it from the platform. And so it's like, if you're not thinking about anything, right, that makes sense. You're like, okay, they're taking away things that aren't true. Like, but who's deciding what is
Who
misinformation?
is?
Because the truth behind the vaccine, I don't want to get in too deep, because like I understand the science behind some vaccines, but the truth is, like, they are dangerous in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have things put into the vaccine that I don't want in my body. I trust my immune system. I'm not concerned about the coronavirus.
Yeah, God gave us everything we need.
And like I can, like, and that's why I kick back against this, because I can see them trying to pull a reality where they say, like, you, and this is not even a conspiracy. They've talked about making you carry around a vaccinated card, which is like I am vaccinated, and like,
Yeah.
and they're going to use that. Like, what if they start saying you can't travel without this vaccination card, you can't go to a music festival without this vaccination card? Like,
Mm-hmm.
they are infringing on your body's sovereignty and your right to experience life off of science that they can't even back this shit.
Yeah.
Like, they made this vaccine in the last 3 months, and if I mean, they also made the virus. Like this whole thing was planned, and that's hard to stomach for people. Is like, wow, there are forces out there that would release a virus into the population to stir up this mayhem. And I'm gonna turn around and be positive, because I do think that people needed to spend this year alone with themselves and to get to know themselves. And I think that it's all working in a divine manner, but there are forces out there that are that shouldn't be trusted.
Yeah.
What you should trust is within yourself, and you should trust your heart and your intuition, and you should follow that.
Yeah, man. I'm there with you. It's like I'm there, man. I'm there with you. It's like it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Like I'm at it. My mind just went blank, but yeah, it'd be like that. But man,
Life is good. Life is
life
good,
is
and
good.
it's
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing to be on this earth, and it's a beautiful thing to be aware. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I think, like, there's a lot of power in, like, being aware, but not being angry and upset about it, and like because you've transmuted it. Then if you can take truth and remove your biases and remove if you're looking for the truth, like you want it to be this, no, like remove that and like set the intention that you care about like the genuine truth. And if you set that and then you open yourself up to receive that, and you do research, you go look into books, and you open your mind, you expand your consciousness, and then you still commit to always being in a problem solving state of mind, always being optimistic, always being hopeful, then you are taking like you're transmuting negative timelines into positive timelines.
Yeah.
You know, like more so than like I think that's the most powerful stance, because some people, I think, they choose to be ignorant of some stuff, but they do everything they can to like broadcast hope and love into the world, and I think they make the world a better place. And then I think there's some people on the conspiracy end of things that like they are so into every agenda and every this and that, but they're still fear-based. Still fear-based. They're almost feeding it, and so they're not really that constructive a part of the solution. And like what I think the most powerful thing we could do is to kind of blend those, and like let's empower the truth seeker in all of us to go look for the truth, like genuinely out of curiosity, out of hope to make things better. Let's go open ourselves up to that, and then stay in a space where we are embodying hope, embodying that problem solving, embodying like that desire to build from it, to create a better world, you know, to transition into a new era.
Yeah, and that's dope, man. That's like I definitely agree, and I mean that's what we're transitioning to. We're transitioning to a new world. I mean, the new world is already here, you know. So this is the time to go and seek the truth, you know, for you, your truth. You know, figure out like what lies have you been believing? You know, question your own, you know, everything. You know, question everything. Believe in yourself. You know, I'm a big firm believer in that, and I just appreciate you for dropping that last gem, man. Finding truth, man. As we conclude, man, like find truth, your truth, and be you, man. Appreciate you, man. Much gratitude, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, and let everybody know they can go grab your merch, all of that, man.
Yeah, awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at Pyramid Realm. I will make you think about reality from different perspectives, and maybe you learn something about yourself. And yeah, I got dope merch, Telepathic Lovers.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for having me, Jade.
I got my pyramid round socks on right now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just to get in the vibe, man. Just to get in the vibe. But
no, yeah, you're my go-to sock distributor for life, man.
let's get it, man. It's time to get happiness, time to get rich, time to get prosperous. You know, change the world for the better, man. It's like I know I want to see the world, you know, more happy, more enlightened, more, you know, just at peace with themselves. And so, you know, let's keep spreading our message of love and kindness and, you know, and gratitude, man. I just thank you for coming on and dropping these gems, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all for taking y'all precious time and energy to listen to us, man. I hope y'all learned something. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, man. Cop some fire ass socks, get some Pyramid Realm merch, man. Let's get it, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yep. Have a good one, Jed.